Welcome back to the Blue Attack path for HTTP Exfil. We're just creating this PHP upload page. So going back to the web server, again, our web server is located in var www.html on Kali. I created an empty index.php file, and here's the upload.php file we're going to create. You'll notice I just pasted it in. The upload directory I called uploads, plural, and that's the directory we need to create, so the files are placed in that directory. So I created the upload.php. Now I create the directory, make dir uploads, and I want to change the owner chown to www-data for uploads. And you have to run it as sudo, and that'll set the appropriate permissions, but just make sure that it's read, write, execute, because it's a directory, and then read, execute, read, execute. So then if you go in the uploads directory, I have also placed a blank index file, or put the word hi in the index file. The reason why I do that is because of if you visit a folder without an index.php file, it actually lists the contents of that directory. So I want to avoid that because I don't want, let's say the blue team is watching as I'm doing this. They'd connect to my uploads directory and notice what I've uploaded from their location or through the exercise. Okay. And then the next item is I need to create a couple of tunnels to, again, allow port 80 and port 443 from the jump box back to Kali. So the first thing I need to do is I need to build that SSH tunnel that says, hey, map port 8000 on the jump box to my local host Kali on port 443. And then I want to do the same for 80. Again, if this was a real scenario outside of the VPN, I probably wouldn't have to do this because my HTTPS server where I'm exfilling to is on the internet, like an S3 bucket or anywhere. It could be anywhere. And port 80 could be anywhere also. But I'm simulating that they're connecting to my attacking box with this. Okay, normally this -r, you should be able to put an IP address like 192.168.169.105:8000. And on the jump box, it'll actually map, instead of the localhost port 8000, it'll map the IP address specified to port 8000. So to really, real quick, show that I'm SSH'd in to deploy. How I SSH'd in is just SSH -P 32000. To the deploy box. I have a certificate. You'd have to put in the password for this. But then I run and I have those two tunnels, and I can look. Right now I don't have anything mapped, so I'm going to come back to my Kali. I'm going to run those two commands. Modify it instead of copying it again. And again, 8000, 8500, they can be whatever ports you'd like. And now if I come back to my deploy box and look at the network connections, I now have port 8000 on localhost and port 8500 on localhost. Well, I have a problem because from the Windows 10 box, I'm going to connect out the pfSense and then come into the jump box, but it can't connect to port 8000 because it's only listening on the local host. So I have to do a little SSH trickery here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to map port 18,000 using the host IP address to the local host port of 8000. So So again, copying this. And the password that I want to put in is the localhost password, or the deploy box password, the team 1 account or team 2 account that you would use. And I would do that both for 8500 and 18,500. And now if I look at those connections, I have on my IP address, I'm listening on port 18,500 and 18,000 mapped respectively. So that's where I'm going to wrap this video up. As we progress, we're going to use those tunnels and those HTTP and HTTPS connections to execute what we need to execute.